And we're live. What is up, everybody? This is Nick from P2W Fantasy, second live stream of the week. And, you know, I've really been wanting to get David, to get Steffi, and to get Ryan from Bootleg on a podcast. So I said, fuck it, get them all in the same one. So I'm excited about this one here. What I want to do is make sure I introduce all three of these guests, because all three of these guys are awesome follows on Twitter and do a lot in the fantasy community. So just to kick things off, I'll start with my guy, David, who is to my left or right, I guess, depending on where you're looking at. But David from Guru Fantasy World blog, he's got that going on, involved with the Fantasy and Frames and Big Guy Fantasy. What a lot of people do know David for is his ability to describe and whisper to the tight end. I think he's got a lot of tight end knowledge and strong opinions for that. But David, I think you and me were in like a group chat early on, so I'm glad we got to actually link up in person. But can you tell everybody where we can find you on Twitter, and then what you got going on, man?
Yeah, first off, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I think it's going to be a great show tonight. I know we have some hot topics that we're passionate about. Looking at you, Steffi. I know she's very passionate about the Giants. Like you said, tight ends is kind of my niche. I don't know why. It's just something I've been gravitated to since I started playing fantasy. So we'll talk about that later. As far as what I do, I just started writing probably 2 years ago. Just wanted to, get my thoughts out. I got an English degree from school, and I just sounded like something fun. And now what I've kind of developed a goal is right now I just have a dinky little blog, but eventually would like to develop it into some sort of free dictionary and encyclopedia, just to kind of create a database of information for people to so that way the information could be available to everyone for free. So that's my goal in the community, and that's really what I'm trying to focus on this year.
Awesome. That's awesome. That'd be very useful for a lot of people, I'm sure. Also with us today, Steffi Smalls, co-owner of the Fantasy Intervention, involved with a lot. New York Giants Rush, On Beat 19, Clapback Sports. You have your Patreon going. You literally just were live before this live stream, so you're very busy.
And I said yes to another one after.
Hey, and we got the times all lined up, so it was good. It was good.
Times, yeah. So I'm so pumped to be on. These are like three of my dudes. I love seeing your guys' content, lurk on you on your Twitters, and there's a lot going on right now. Something I'm working on for the off season that I'll probably launch, and I don't know if I've said it out live yet, is I'm building an injury tracker right now. I just made a team to do that. I'm very excited. I'm trying to make this master injury tracker. It's kind of hard to keep track of all these injuries, and so I want to have a one-place shop that's doesn't cost you any money, and somewhere that you can kind of click on something. It'll give you past players that had that injury, how long they were out, how long research tells you they're going to be out. So that's kind of my thing I'm working on now. I'm working on a couple pieces with Saquon and all these injuries during the off season. So I'm finally settling down, able to produce actually some content and calm down the business side of things, which is nice. Jump on as many lives as I can. But thank you for having me. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. And we have John, a.k.a. Dynasty Beard, chiming in here. Small's my homie, and nobody else can steal her away from me.
My boy.
All right. And last but not least, Ryan, a.k.a. Bootleg Fantasy. So co-founder and senior writer for Climb the Pocket. I've had Steve from Climb the Pocket on my podcast a couple times. Great guy there. You guys, I mean, I'll let you talk about it. You guys just hit over 1,000 subs this season, which is awesome. Yeah. Tell us about what you got going on and everything.
We were lucky enough to have you fill in for me one day on the Climb the Pocket channel. You were talking up my personal favorite, Kenyon Drake. You were big on him before the season, but
he gave me a shout out. I had to. I mean, me and him are homies because of that. So
yeah, it wasn't a cameo. It was just a great video between friends, but. Climb the Pocket. We've been working on it for 4 or so years. Me and 360 FFB. We've been just churning away, and we definitely like to get as much redraft stuff out as possible. We're definitely like a week-to-week content provider where we like to do rankings. Me and Steve obviously have the YouTube. We do giveaways there. We do a start sit every single week, and we're trying to get big on TikTok. So we're we're not quite your level, Nick, where your TikTok game is unparalleled. But
Hey,
we had a single video take off. We put up like the DeAndre Hopkins talking trash in the practice video, and we got like 30,000 followers, and we don't know what to do with
man.
it. So we need your type of expertise on TikTok. So that's why I'm here talking to you.
Hey, I do appreciate that, because I mean, stuff like that, it goes a long way. But the thing is, with me, I can make some cool videos of like me juggling a soccer ball and making picks, but it's my 7-month-old that kind of steals the show half the time. So I mean, I don't know if you guys can find a way to get something like that going on, but that's my niche right there.
All right, so have a child and I'll be TikTok famous. That's beautiful.
Just take that note down, man. It's got to be you or Steve, I guess. But
Steve just got a house, so he's
on his way.
He's showing up to Chicago right now. He's
I've seen that with the leopard jacket too.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. That was terrible. That was absolutely garbage. But he's leaving Florida to go to negative 35 degrees. So I don't know what he's doing.
Just loves it here.
Skiing, hopefully.
Yeah. Oof, I don't know. So what we're going to be doing today, I got 2 opening questions I'm going to ask these guys. Then the bulk of it is fantasy, fact, or fiction. The reason I keep doing this a lot this offseason is because there's so many up and down reactions to any piece of NFL news and reactions from the season. So I like to get people's opinions on, hey, is this statement fact or fiction? So I'm going to ask these guys a couple different questions there. But first, we'll kick it off with the intro. All right, that's got me in some copyright trouble on YouTube, but I found a way to strip the audio because I don't own the rights to that music there. But
you don't own Drip Too Hard?
I might have been in the music video, but I don't own the rights to the actual lyrics of the song.
Was it you or your 7-month-old in the music video?
I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus right now, but so we got 2 opening questions for you guys. We'll get through those pretty quickly here. I had Lindsay OK on the show on Tuesday, awesome guest, and I asked her some similar questions. But the first one I have here is outside of Carson Wentz. So Ryan, I don't want to get too deep into your boy right here, who might soon to be my boy. I don't know. Boy. Maybe. I guess we'll see. I have this little hope like some sort of Watson thing going on, but it's not looking too pretty.
Team? Why do I not know that?
I'm a Bears fan. I'm in the Burbs of Chicago. So
Wentz, but go
ahead. It might be the case. So
always the bridesmaid there, Nick. It's all right.
Hey, I know. I don't want to get into the Bears too much here, but who is going to be the next quarterback on the move that is not Wentz? So there's a lot of guys we keep seeing different names thrown around. Hey, this guy doesn't like what his situation is. This guy's been reached out by other teams and clubs here. So if you had to pick one person that you think is going to be the next one on the move, not named Wentz, who's going to be that person, and where do you think they'll go? And we'll start with David on this one.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I didn't research any topic here except for Evan Ingram and Jalen Hurts tonight. So I'm going to be relying on you guys to have some pretty good takes on the rest of these bullet points.
I just pulled up the show notes.
I'm going to go. Oh, that's giving me confidence. We're relying on you, bootleg. All right. You're going to have to carry us through some of these bullets.
That's fine.
Until me and Steffi go ham on the Evan Ingram debate. Sure. But I'm going to say San Francisco. That's just gut feeling. I don't really have any reasoning behind it. I feel like they're a contender, and they're the team most ready to bring in another quarterback.
All right, just that quarterback's to be determined, I guess. Out of that, all right.
He just is picking a place.
Yeah, you picked a place, Steffi.
That's all I got for you.
Steffi, do you happen to have a quarterback and a place? We're seeing if we can just inch up this.
So I love Winston. I am a Winston stan. I adore him. I think that with his new LASIK and his new eyes, it's a bright future for Mr. Winston, pun intended. The place is interesting. I think that somewhere that would be I I think Washington is a hot spot for Winston. I think that he would fit that scheme very beautifully there. I think Winston could fit into a lot of places. I think it would be kind of cool to see Billy B take Mr. Winston. I would like to see what they could do over there with the Patriots and Winston. But I think Winston deserves a shot. I don't think that he is a backup quarterback. I think that, yes, he had his issues with his turn. The guy's not squinting anymore. He got LASIK and he can be a phenomenal quarterback. So Winston I'm very excited to see where he ends up. I would love for Dak to go to the Colts. If I can get a number 2, I'll add one more fun that will never happen. But in La La Land, I would love to see Dak no longer with the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. And as someone with glasses and awful vision, I can attest that the difference is real.
Yeah.
Between my .275s and my .225s, if you wear contacts, you know what that means. If you don't, you probably don't. If you don't have glasses, it's just a prescription. It makes a difference a little bit in just how much you can see. So,
especially downfield.
Maybe you're onto something.
I don't think so.
Hey, all right. And Ryan, what's your scenario here?
So here we got something for you, Nick. You guys need a quarterback, right? That's what the Bears
Absolutely.
need. You guys have never had a quarterback. And you guys are interested in not once had a quarterback. The Bears have never won.
At least in Nick's lifetime.
I was just talking about this today. I don't know if I've ever since I've been born. I was born in 1991, right? I don't think I've ever been like super excited on a Sunday, like running to the TV, like I gotta watch this guy throw.
Like, he doesn't get you going.
Rex Grossman was great.
And Orton and Jay Cutler, man. I mean, the list goes on and on.
If you could have a quarterback that looked exactly like Kyle Orton, how would you feel about that?
I'm trying to think about where you're going.
Uncle Rico, ain't he?
I hate the way this is going.
Because Gardner Minshew is going to be a Bear. Gardner Minshew.
Okay.
He will be a Bear at some point this offseason. Because Gardner Minshew.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He'll be there. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling great about the Chew to Chicago because, I mean, the future is the Chew. He's a great quarterback. He's going to have Allen Robinson completely bought in. We know how ex-Jaguars do in Chicago. They love it there. I really think that Gardner Minshew is a great play in Chicago. He's similar to Derek Carr, but he doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and his brother isn't on the NFL Network being annoying. I think Gardner Minshew will run that offense pretty well. Have you guys had a 4,000-yard passer in the history of the Bears? Is that – I don't think
Allen Robinson is out of there.
I think Jim McMahon threw for 500 yards one season.
I'm trying to paint a beautiful picture where Gardner Minshew and Allen Robinson make Jaguars fans sad in a very cold place. I know it's not going to happen that specific way, but I really do think Minshew's on the move. He's going to start that Ryan Fitzpatrick career that he's going to eventually have where he's on like 35 teams. And, I wouldn't hate it starting in Chicago, and you guys will be a playoff team. That's all you need.
So he's coming, but he's not staying, is what you're saying.
No, he'll be there for a nice 2 years. He'll hit all the dive bars, try the pizza, and leave. It's fine.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna have to strip this audio or just this clip later, just in case, and say, hey, my show is where you heard it first and might have only heard this take from Ryan.
I would also like Russell Wilson just trade anywhere else. I don't know where specifically, but just Russell Wilson out of an offense that was made in the 1920s. Running like a wishbone offense. I just don't want Pete Carroll to tell Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf that they're going to run the ball the entire time. Don't love that. So wherever Russell Wilson gets marginally angry about and leaves, that's what I want. I don't care if it's in the AFL, XFL. Just get him out of Seattle. Hate it there.
And it's
You're
funny.
Coming in hot tonight, Ryan.
Listen,
you sound a little angry about this.
So Russell Wilson is he's probably my favorite quarterback in the league since Carson Wentz doesn't want to talk in the media. So I want Russell Wilson happy. He's a great guy. He won the Walter Payton Man of the Year, and Seattle doesn't appreciate him. So
he's going to die on that hill, right?
Yep, 100%.
Okay.
Bring Russ to Carolina. Now you got everybody coming in. We're gonna get fan bases just chiming in like Russ here, Russ.
I don't know.
Listen, Russell Wilson was there. There was the rumors last year where they were thinking about shipping him to the Giants for like 20 minutes. That was a fun like 20.
I don't even remember that.
I
right
just
before,
don't see it. I don't see that ever happening, a Russell Wilson trade. It's just
Russell Wilson
Yeah.
will die there.
it's
I know
unimaginable.
it sucks. It's the absolute worst. But in this made up land where Nick's asking me questions and I'm answering, I just want Russ anywhere else.
The land of Nick questions. The next Nick question has to do with quarterbacks too. So we don't want to talk about the Super Bowl. Everybody's talked about the Super Bowl enough in not even a week that it's been finalized. But my question to you guys is, Mahomes falls behind 7-1 in Super Bowl rings to Tom Brady. If we're gonna try to get this weird, like, LeBron chasing Jordan and rings sort of outlook thing here, does this make Mahomes unlikely to ever catch him now that he faced this guy in the Super Bowl, and now it's not a 6-2 gap, it's a 7-1 gap? Steffi, what's your take on this?
I am not the best person to ask this because I am not high on Mahomes as high as everyone else is. I think that Mahomes is a phenomenal athlete and he is a phenomenal quarterback, but I don't know that he's ever going to get as many rings as Brady did. I think Mahomes is also given some very fantastic tools. He has a fantastic coaching system. I think that for them to not pull this off is, for lack of a better term, pathetic. So I think that Mahomes, no, I do not think that he will get as many rings. I know most people probably don't listen to my rehab reports, but his surgery is concerning to me. Most turf toes do not end in a surgery. It's only 12.5% of cases that do end in a surgery. So yes, he's young. Yes, this is great. But he did rupture that plantar plate, which is not a beautiful thing. So moving forward, it's going to be something that he's going to have to battle with. So hopefully his rehab goes well, and I'm sure it will. But Brady is ultimately going to have more rings than Mr. Mahomes.
And I like that injury stat line right there with the 12.5. I feel like I'm going to use that sometime in a discussion. I'm just going to pause the conversation and be like, did you know though? 12.5%.
Only 12.5%.
Only 12.5.
That's it. Usually it's you're out for a little bit. And the fact that they made that decision so quickly, you can look at players like use Antonio Gibson, for example. So he was out for a couple weeks, didn't end in a surgery. Why did Mahomes get turf toe the first playoff game and then all of a sudden needs surgery? So this was a serious injury. This is not a mild injury by any means.
So Ryan, down 7-1 in rings. He's been to the Super Bowl 2 out of the 3 last years. Is it unlikely he's going to catch the guy?
It's not happening. Is there an Irish Catholic slant for me that Tom Brady's never going to get caught? There might be. I got to ride for Tom Brady, but Steffi touched on it. Andy Reid is getting older. Travis Kelce's sneaky 31. And you're not going to get the 18 years with Andy Reid that Mahomes, it's just not going to happen. It took Brady 20 years to get there. It's the toughest league in sports, and 7 may never get caught, right? Especially if you lose to the guy that you're trying to catch. It's not a great look. I really don't think that Mahomes is going to catch him. That number is untouchable to me, and we don't know 5 years down the road what the Chiefs can build. I mean, we saw just a sustained build in New England where they would just get new guys every year. And, it went from Deion Branch to Wes Welker to Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola. They got guys that fit the system. I don't know if you can get Tyreek Hills or Travis Kelce's. I don't know if that's a thing or everybody would have them. So I'm interested to see 5 years from now where Mahomes is. If he's sitting at 3 or 4 in 5 years, we might have an argument, but I as of right now, it's a tough
There's
look.
A lot of teams on a come up right now too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at we're in a situation with a lot of teams that are going to be like Super Bowl contenders next year. So not
it's too early to even have the conversation after one. It's unlikely anybody ever catches Brady with 7 rings. The conversation shouldn't even be had till he's at 4.
So you're in agreement. So all 3 of you guys here, no chance for Mahomes.
Not no chance, but
he's going to have one like Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, hey, that's a hot take
Please
in
don't
itself.
quote that. Please don't clip that. I don't want that.
I would like to, as a Bears fan, I'd love to clip that and say bootleg fantasy said this and just like at you twice on act.
All
right.
the angry
I'll
people from
retweet
the
it every day
Midwest.
for like.
I like the sound of it, but it is what it is. All right, fantasy fact or fiction. Again, we do this if you're tuning in now. We do this because there's so many statements that get thrown around when little news breaks, big news breaks, and it's good to differentiate what is probably likely or probably not likely when it comes to fantasy. So the first one on the slate here, I got a lot of stats in front of me, and I don't want to take away anybody's thunder here, but the Dak Prescott injury occurred in week 5 this year. Weeks 1 through 5, so smaller sample size, but Amari Cooper was the wide receiver 8. CeeDee Lamb was the wide receiver 11. Gallup was the wide receiver 33. Zeke was the RB3. Without Dak, from weeks 6 through 16, obviously a larger sample size here, Amari Cooper was the wide receiver 24 during that span. CeeDee Lamb was the wide receiver 33. Gallup was the wide receiver 42. Zeke was the RB 26. Fact or fiction? We touched on this briefly in the intro here. If Dak is not back in Dallas next season, the Dallas skill players in redrafts should be avoided. So we can start with Ryan. We'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, so I pretty much did the exact same thing you did once I saw the show notes. I went to the weekly finishes, and I went 11-17 because that was like a long stretch of Andy Dalton starting, and half PPR, Zeke was RB 22. Don't love that because he's getting drafted as RB8. Amari Cooper, wide receiver. No, don't love that even a little bit. Amari Cooper, half PPR 22. CeeDee Lamb was half PPR 24, and Gallup was half PPR wide receiver 27. So out of those guys specifically, the only guy that I would think about going after, Michael Gallup, might not even be on the team next year. Just because he's an interesting piece to me that I think that they can move, and their offense wouldn't change that much because there's not enough football to go around to him. I mean, he's got more value to any other team in the NFL than he does to the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion. I think if they're to move on from anybody on that team, it would be Gallup. He's the only guy that I'd be interested in drafting. I think everybody else is currently getting overdrafted because Cooper's at 16 and CeeDee Lamb's at wide receiver 17, ADP half PPR. So those guys don't feel great. And I have no idea what Blake Jarwin's going to do. So I have no idea what that offense is going to look like. So I'm staying away from Cowboys, and that's not just because I'm an Eagles fan.
You're sure, though? No bias?
No, not even a little bit of bias.
All right. Just making sure. All right, yeah. David, what do you think about this?
You want to know what I think, Nick? I don't like this question at all right? I am trying to hope and dream here with the idea of Dak Prescott under center in 2021 for the Dallas Cowboys. I am acting in all moves, dynasty, especially right now, under the assumption that he is back and signed to a contract in 2021 because I refuse to believe anything else that they could let a talent like – I feel like his presence has become more apparent than ever how much it matters to this team after this year. And I just do not see a scenario where Jerry Jones lets this guy walk unless he's getting Justin Fields or someone else in this draft like a Trevor Lawrence. And I don't see that happening. So to me, I assume Dak Prescott is the guy, and he should be the guy. He's earned it. I think he's earned it in every way. So I'm operating under the assumption Amari Cooper is going to be a steal this year, who was in the wide receiver redraft conversation, wide receiver 1 overall in redraft with Dak Prescott under center. Like if you were making midseason trades and doing rankings, he was up there in the top 3 for production. So CeeDee Lamb as well, he's going to be a target of mine. I don't care what the price is with him, with Dak Prescott under center. And Michael Gallup as well. I like him as a flyer as well. So please don't introduce thoughts to me of Dak Prescott not being under center in 2021.
You just never know sometimes.
They hurt me. It's too early. It's too early in the offseason to be crushing hopes and dreams like that, Nick.
All right. Fair enough. Steffi, we'll finish with you on this one.
I would love Dak to play anywhere else besides
different perspective.
Of course you would.
I would just because I genuinely think that Dak is better than that system, and that has nothing to do with my Giants fandom. he deserves way better. Before his injury, I don't know if you guys remember, a week before, he's publicly, verbally saying that Dak will never be anything like Mahomes. Dak will never be anything like Aaron Rodgers. If I'm Dak, I'm like, screw you guys, and I'm out of there. It's similar to what Ryan said. I am not touching Cowboys players. I'm already off the Zeke train. I'm writing an article about him right now. I think that things are only going to get worse for Zeke with or without Dak. Dak comes back. He has way better options on that team. Zeke's targets will plummet this year. I promise everyone. You guys can all come at me if I am wrong. Zeke is on a one-way train to no thank you land. So I am not high on Zeke. I think that I'm staying away from them. And sorry, Ryan, the Eagles are also another team. Like, these are teams I'm staying away from their players. They're not players that I'm drafting. I think people will say the same thing about the Giants. That's fine. But CeeDee Lamb, I'm still interested in. He probably will fall a little bit. I got him pretty late in a startup league, but with or without Dak, I'm not high on what they do. I mean, look at them. Every year they go into the draft and they pick whatever flashy name they can find, and then they just somehow screw themselves later on. So I'm just not confident in what they're doing over there. And if Dak is smart, he'll get out of there.
Ryan, you had your pen up for a second.
It's gonna suck when they draft Kyle Pitts, but
They're 100% not drafting Kyle
listen,
Pitts.
I'm very excited for them to take Kyle Pitts.
Okay.
But my Eagles we're gonna talk
Kyle
about.
Pitts, I will personally Venmo you $20.
All right, note it. Bookmark it.
Write that one down, Nikki.
They are not.
I got it.
You're
it's right here.
You guys are forgetting. This is Jerry Jones. He's an idiot.
that I have forgotten that point. That point is very valid for sure.
But he's an offensively minded idiot.
Rocking a hard place. Love to see that.
I mean, you're running an organization.
Now they have Mike McCarthy in their ear, so I'm sure they'll go for another wide receiver that'll fail.
Yikes! All right, so we just mentioned Kyle Pitts, so that'll lead us into our next fact or fiction here.
What a segue.
Yeah, a little. I mean, I looked for like the little pieces all the time, like the smallest thing that's mentioned. Well, you just said this. So in 2020, looking at the rookies, if we look at weeks 1 through 16, right, we had James Robinson and Jonathan Taylor, both top 10 running backs. Justin Jefferson was a wide receiver 8. Looking at just PPR leagues here, Justin Herbert was a top 10 QB weeks 1 through 16. So we had 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, and a quarterback from this rookie class finish in the top 10. A lot of hype, obviously, every year for the incoming rookie class. Fact or fiction, looking at the 2021 incoming rookie class, will we also have a top 10 quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, or another position? We'll start with Steffi. We'll start with you on this one.
It's hard. I think that I'm not high on the running backs this year. I don't know that I have a lot of confidence in them. I actually like the tight ends. Like David, I do adore tight ends. I just finished film on them. I think that there are some sneaky tight ends that are going to end up coming in to the picture here. For example, Trey McKitty, if he is someone that ends up getting some attention, I think that he could very well. I mean, also you have to look at the league, right? The tight end situation sucks right now. I mean, we've got 3 good tight ends, and then it's like a couple, okay, I don't, like, you guys are fine, and then the rest can just like go somewhere else. I don't know.
David's shaking right now when you're saying this.
I'm sorry.
She knows. Everybody knows. Cat's out of the bag at this point.
I think that the tight ends coming in, the rookies coming in, are in a really good spot because the tight ends suck right now. So I think the tight ends, I think we definitely are looking at having a quarterback and a tight end. The quarterback situation, I don't know that it's going to be Trevor Lawrence that everyone thinks it's going to be. I think that when you break it down the film and you actually go in and you look at it, some of these guys are definitely better than him, I think. And that might be a bold statement and a hot take, but I mean, what it boils down to is I really think looking at the film and the athletics of these guys is I think that there are some guys that can outplay him. And you also have to look at, we still have some really good quarterbacks right now in the league. How do you get into that top 10? How do you get in there? That's a tough role to fill. So I'm actually leaning off of maybe one of these guys. I don't know that the quarterback scenario, actually talking it out, that they're going to make it into that top 10. I think there's a lot of people you're going to have to beat to get in there. A lot of people. I mean, we have some of these players that are going to end up stepping in. I think Baker Mayfield is someone that could easily end up being a top 10 quarterback next year. Why not? I think some of these guys definitely could reach into that. So running backs, I'm not sold. Wide receivers, yeah, for sure. I think that Waddle, Smith, you've got definitely some big names, but I think the tight end scenario is where I'm seeing someone fall into the top 10.
All right, we'll go to David. So, are we going to have multiple rookies finish in the top 10 this coming season? Obviously, we're talking super early because we got to talk about something. So, what do you think, man?
Let's see where they go to.
Yeah, I don't want to speak too much on this because I haven't done my research on this rookie class thoroughly yet, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But I'm going to definitely side with Steffi on the no. But if anything, I feel comfortable in the tight end position out of anyone because, like you said, like there's no one who really matters beyond the top three. Like anybody could emerge on a yearly basis. Like it is Travis Kelce at like 21 points per game, Darren Waller at 18, Kittle at like 16 this past year. And then it's like, I believe 18 to 20 tight ends between 12 and 8 points per game. So it's just like a middle tier where anyone could emerge. And there's some legit talents. Kyle Pitts. Also, don't sleep on, I love what I see out of this Brevin Jordan kid, everything I'm seeing from him. So, I mean, I like betting on the tight ends. If anything, wide receiver top 10, that seems too rich for me. Running back, maybe a running back, but top 10 is asking a lot. Tight end's a little bit different because you're only starting one, so top 10 doesn't seem as big an accomplishment to me.
All right, Ryan, multiple 2021 incoming rookies, top 10 this year.
Multiple, maybe. I mean, tight end definitely we touched on. I like Freiermuth out of Penn State. He's a sick tight end. But the key for quarterbacks is you need to be kind of a dual threat guy off the bat. I mean, that's what we saw with Jalen Hurts, and I think we're going to touch on that shortly, that you need to be able to move the ball on the ground a little bit as a quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence isn't that guy yet. You know, he might be able to get those weird first downs like Aaron Rodgers by just sneaking out when no one's accounting for him, but that's not his game. So I like Justin Fields. I like Trey Lance a little bit. I don't think he starts day one. So the quarterbacks are going to be tough. It then comes down to running back. You need the perfect situation. James Robinson got 300 and some odd touches. That's going to let you put up numbers.
A lot.
I think Harris to the Steelers would be very interesting. Really anybody to the Steelers is going to be an interesting play because I hate all the running backs. Like, no offense to like James Conner, but he's not who we saw when Lev Bell was sitting out. Benny Snell is the weirdest runner in the league where it takes him like 35 carries to like have 45 yards and then he like busts off 2 for 20 and then you're like, I have no idea what this guy's doing.
I like that analysis though. Like this guy's just a weird runner in the league.
He's just a weird dude. Like he's running in quicksand and then like all of a sudden he's out of quicksand, but he's still putting in the same effort. So he just takes off. I don't know what's up with that guy. So hopefully the Steelers get some type of talent. I'm going to be interested to see obviously where the main wide receivers go, but I love the wide receiver class this year. I mean, after Chase and Smith, you've got Bateman, you've got Moore, you've got a bunch of guys. Kadarius Toney is somebody that I love personally. I think he may end up maybe in Philadelphia in the second round if he drops because we just added their offensive coordinator. Would love that, but it probably won't happen. Love that, Jordan. Absolutely love that. Atlanta or Arizona would be great for rookie running backs too. It just kind of depends where these guys fall out. I don't love the quarterbacks. I don't really love the running backs. Wide receiver is interesting because it's kind of a crapshoot, and tight end feels like a slam dunk that somebody will be there. So,
All right.
Those are my thoughts.
And speaking of tight end, once again, just going right into the next segment here.
No.
So this is going to probably be a little bit of a debate. So to be safe, I'm going to start with Ryan on this one, but I'll read off the question just because I feel like there's got to be some like peace before the explosion. All right. So we got David who loves talking tight ends. We got Steffi who loves talking Giants football. Might have some different perspectives here, but Evan Ingram finished this year as the tight end 14 in fantasy.
Way too high.
PPR. A few flashes, like in week 9, he had 15.8, week 12, 16.9, week 16, he had 14. So he had some okay weeks this past season. He finishes the overall tight end 4, though, back in 2017. Fact or fiction? Evan Ingram is due for a major breakout in 2021. And Ryan, let's start things off with a neutral perspective on this, man.
So I'm gonna like lay a little landscape, paint a little beautiful picture, a little Bob Ross. I'm gonna give a little back and forth here that they can work on. So Evan Ingram, he struggled with the drops. I don't know what was happening last year. I mean, I understand the face you made, and it might be a little bit of an understatement that he was bad. Listen, he had the second most drops at the tight end position, so there was somebody worse than him. That's great. He wasn't the worst. But in 2019, he only had 2 drops. I don't know what was going on this past year. That was a weird little thing for him. He was also 37th in contested catch rate. That's a good point. Jason Garrett could be a reason why. But 37th in contested catch rate. You got to fight a little bit, dude. Like, I think he was like 4th in routes run by the tight end. You got to work with me a little bit. Like, you need to fight for a pass or two. I understand that you were 39th in quarterback rating when targeted. I understand Danny Dimes stinks.
Whoa. Now we have 2 debates. Crap.
Danny Dimes stinks.
Interesting.
Danny Dimes is bad. It's listen, my quarterback is still listen. I was just saying.
You guys are not looking pretty.
Listen, that's fine. Evan Ingram's player profiler comparison, Gerald Everett, who we're also still waiting for a breakout season from. I think Evan Ingram has all the talent. It's going to be interesting to see what the Giants do to kind of shore up their offense. I like their offense. I don't love their offense. I saw that they may be getting rid of wide receivers or they may be adding wide receivers. I don't know what they're doing there. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think he's going to be a top 10 tight end this year, though.
Okay. And before we get into David or Steffi, I wrote down the number 1 or 2. So David, I'll let you pick. And if you guess right, you get to pick who goes next on this one. Is it a 1 or a 2?
I say 2.
It's a 1. So Steffi, you want to go next or you want David to go next?
Oh, hell no. David can go first.
Okay. All right, David, you're up.
Okay. All right. Well, to start, I was going to just badmouth Evan Ingram. I feel like Steffi could do a better job of it, if you want to cut in. But
for shotgun.
My question is, what is the case against him, right? And it's drops this year, right? It's drops because when you look at Evan Ingram, all right, just sit back for a couple minutes, guys. I got a few notes. This is all I came for. So just let me go.
He said in the group chat, he's like, "Listen, Nick, let's start off the podcast."
I wanted it.
We'll get there. All right, go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna take a deep breath and then I'm gonna go because Evan Ingram, despite I believe the words that we've been using is booty cheeks. Steffi, am I correct? Booty cheeks is what we've been using to describe Evan Ingram. Yeah. Is booty cheeks, and he was booty cheeks in 2020. He was bad. But despite the fact he was booty cheeks, he has the most receiving yards for a rookie tight end since 2003.
Who gives a shit?
Okay. Let me finish here. All right, I got plenty to go. That's all right. You can cut in. But since 2003, all right, in 2002, it was Jeremy Shockey with 894 receiving yards. Before that,
it's a trend.
Before that, it was Keith Jackson in 1988 with 869 yards. So we're talking 3 decades of performers here. And Evan Ingram was a top 3 rookie performer. So The talent is clearly there, and it was clearly there from the start that he can produce meaningful fantasy production. This was not just in the last 3 decades, 6th most all time behind Mike Ditka, Jeremy Shockey, Keith Jackson, Charles Young, and John Mackey, who's got an award named after him. All right. Like you said, tight end 4 that rookie season. Okay. 2nd year, 3rd year, tight end 7 and tight end 7 in points per game. All right. He had the injuries. Those were frustrating to say the least. But then 2020 happened, and we all know this is why we're here having the discussion right now about how bad Evan Ingram was in 2020. And I'm sure Steffi's going to tell you all about how bad he was and about all of the things that Evan Ingram did wrong in 2020. I read your article about Sterling Shepard, Steffi, and it was a great article. And one stat that really stood out to me was that Evan Ingram cost the Giants about 35 points. I mean, did I read that correctly? About 35 points he cost this team. What you're saying to me, right, is if you cut his drop rate in half, he dropped 11 passes in 2020 and that was a 10.1% drop rate. If you cut it in half to about 5%, what you're telling me, right, is that he had receptions, yards, and touchdowns. I'm sure she'll tell you about the touchdowns he dropped that were quite literally in his hands, there for the taking. And the good news, it's not just betting randomly on the drop rate to be cut in half. He was at 4.7 and 4.1% drop rate in year 2 and year 3. He did struggle with them as a rookie. Pro Football Reference didn't have the drop data there, but Pro Football Focus, PFF, had him charted with about a 10% drop rate as a rookie as well. So we had 2 years at about 10% drop rate and 2 years at about a 4.5% drop rate. So if the Evan Ingram year 2, year 3 showed up this past year and dropped only about 4.5% of the balls instead of 10% of the passes, he would have, again, corrected those touchdowns, and he wasn't that far off from another top 7 tight end performance. It was like Mike Gesicki he had to clear. He was about 30 points off from that, which if you cut the drop rate in half from about 11 to 6, he's already there. And then that's not even talking about improving the system, which was awful. Steffi can tell you all about that too. She already held the note. Jason Garrett, he is, let's make this clear. He limits the upside of everybody here, for Evan Ingram included. Jason Garrett his offense looked to me like unseasoned chicken last year. I didn't want none of that. All right. But year 2, it can't be worse in year 2 than in year 1, can it? I mean, you have to assume they get a full off season, they get to go through it. It's got to be at least marginally better. So you bring in the fact Evan Ingram, he scored 6 touchdowns in 15 games as a rookie, 3 in 11 games 2018, 3 in 8 games in 2019, 2 in 16 in 2020. That goes from 0.4 a game to 0.27 to 0.38 to 0.13. So you just correct the drops, the touchdowns automatically reappear. You don't even have to improve the offense, and he's already back to being top 7 tight end. Year 2, possibly less drops, same system, less thinking, more playing. Throw in cherry on the top. He's in a contract year. Everybody knows. Everybody knows what it means when you're in a contract year. You got to go get that money. Evan Ingram, he wants to get paid. I'll tell you right now, he wants to get paid. He wants to go and get paid, okay? So the best part about this, the only reason I'm making this pitch for him is because we've come to a point where we are so low about him, where we are talking, everybody's willing to pile on him. You can draft him as your tight end 2 in 2021. You could never say that before. And nobody seems to be all that thrilled about it. But right now, he is dropping and his ADP has plummeted and the asking price has plummeted. And the biggest point that I want to harp on here that gets lost when we talk about Evan Ingram, like this is the point that is most important here. And it's the big picture, because Evan Ingram, yes, he has underperformed relative to expectations. So has every other tight end outside of the top 3. This is not an Evan Ingram problem. This is a tight end problem. It is underperformance relative to expectations across the board. Relative to expectations. So think about some of the tight ends we're going to be drafting ahead of Evan Ingram in 2021. Mm-hmm. We're going to be drafting Mike Gesicki, Irv
Yes,
Jonnu Smith,
hell yeah.
Cole Kmet,
Give me
Hunter
some
Henry.
Let's
And
go.
don't get me wrong, I'm drafting those guys before Hunter Henry too. But to act
Oh,
like any of
boy.
those guys are a sure thing, to act like any of those guys are a sure thing is wrong, because they're not. And every year we get one or two tight ends who overperforms relative to expectations. This year we got Robert Tonyan and Logan Thomas. I don't know if any of these tight ends, Gesicki, Irv, Jonnu Kmet, Hunter Henry, or Evan Ingram, I wouldn't bet on any of them breaking out in 2021. I wouldn't bet on any of them. And that's my point, because I don't want one single tight end. I don't want my eggs in any one of these guys' baskets. If I'm drafting Irv Smith, you better believe I'm taking Evan Ingram 2 rounds later as a plan B to get another ticket to possibly the big show, because you don't have much of a chance if you don't have one of those big 3 tight ends. So I feel like Evan Ingram, he needs to be on your roster at the asking price this year. I mean, it's just, I will absolutely take him as my tight end 2 everywhere if I don't have a big 3 tight end, which is not many places for me.
So you're saying fact then?
No, I say fiction, but I say it's fiction across the board. I say it's fiction across the board for non-big 3 tight ends. But he's got as good a chance. I think the upside is still there as much as it is with any tight end that's not a top 3 tight end right now. So when you look at the asking price and you factor in, you gotta pay more for Cole Kmet, Irv, Jonnu, Hunter Henry, all these guys. Pay it for them. But if you think that's a sure thing, that ain't gonna be me.
All right, I'm going to make sure I get to Steffi, because we got to make sure we talk some Eagles after this. But like Evan Ingram, I agree with the point, and I can relate to the point of wanting to get paid. So I like that pointer right there. Steffi, I'm not even going to repeat the question. We're talking Evan Ingram.
I won't waste it. I won't talk.
Jump into it.
So here's the thing. One, we'll talk about him getting paid really quick. Evan Ingram is going to grab that tag. He doesn't even need, he could drop every ball next season and the Giants are bought in. The Giants are a system that when they like a player, and that's period. So Evan Ingram is not working for anything. He is just quite literally just continuing to work for to stay on the roster, which is what he's doing. To think that Evan Ingram is going to produce with a Jason Garrett. So I would buy into all of this, right? If Jason Garrett was not going to be the offensive coordinator next year. If Jason Garrett, which he is, the offensive coordinator, there is a 0% chance that Evan Ingram has any hope. Okay. He has 0. There is no hope for him. I think that you cannot be a player that has a 57.8% completion percentage on a team that you're the most targeted player. He is a travesty is what he is. He is a disgrace to this position. His blocking is fantastic. This is why I'm high on Pitts. This is why I'm okay with Evan Ingram can stay on the team. You move Caden Smith over and you put Evan Ingram there on the side and you let him do his thing. But I mean, research has shown that year 2, you need a significant breakout. And then by year 3, year 4, if that's not happening, you're not good and you're not going anywhere. So he's going into 5 and we're not seeing what we need to see. Jason Garrett is going to continue to try to use him like Witten. I don't really know what the hell is going on over there. But I mean, they're going to bring in a wide receiver 1 is hopefully what the scenario is. And all that's going to do is decrease targets. And yes, I will say that Evan Ingram does do better when he's targeted less, but not great. I mean, he's never been fantastic. His rookie year was, I don't know where everyone gets this idea that his rookie year was fantastic either. I mean, that was his worst year of completions. Like his completion percentage was disturbing that year. So he was never. Yes, he has the potential, and I love Ingram, and I rooted for him all season, and I hoped. But you get to this point where you're like, dude, you got to catch the ball. I mean, he is getting thrown beautiful passes from someone that watches film over and over again. To watch him and Slayton get the most beautiful balls on this team and to drop them one after another, it's just frustrating. I mean, he is not going to have a breakout year. His breakout year has passed. It is over. It is long gone. You can stash him for maybe a chance that he's going to do great. I don't even know how you could watch this season and still think that that's a possibility. I think that Garrett being there is basically the nail in the coffin. It's done. There's a 0% chance that this guy has success. He's not Witten. You can't treat him like Witten. I don't know what amnesia or disease you have that makes you think you're still in Dallas. You're not in Dallas. He's not Witten, and Ingram sucks, and that's it. It's just period. That's it.
Steffi, would you take a rookie third for Ingram? Got John asking that.
Fuck yeah. Ship him to the moon. And you know what sucks is that Ingram is going to go somewhere with less stress and be a star. I don't doubt that for 1 minute. I don't think Ryan can say whatever he wants. I don't think it's Daniel Jones. It's not Daniel Jones. These balls could not be more perfectly placed. I will personally send you the horror film that I have. So he is just bad. You don't need to jump to get a ball. Just stay on the ground and you'll catch the ball. I don't know. This isn't basketball, sir.
I did say he was 37th in contested catch rate. So yeah, he's not great.
But no, he's not good.
No, he's not good, but he may just need to Ebron his way out and like find a team where
he's not going to be
scores 10 touchdowns.
That's a great adjective. I'm sorry, that's a good verb. I'm getting it all mixed up. Ebron his way out of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's all he needs to do.
Ebron stinks though too, so I don't.
He's got the dropsies. I mean, it's kind of comparable.
Yeah, the dropsies. Well, I don't want the dropsies on my team when we're running a very tight end scheme over there.
You guys want Zach Ertz?
Please.
You can have.
Please. There you go. All right. So I mean, we can go back and forth and debate this for a while. I think both sides kind of hashed out what they had to say. I can go back to David, go back to Steffi, but I think the whole point of this is that there's a very different perspective on the valuation of him. And that again leads me into my next guy who's on the list here. A lot of different perspectives on Jalen Hurts. He started weeks 14, 15, 16, and 17 this year. He was responsible for 9 total touchdowns in those 4.
Shit, you're muted.
Nick, you muted yourself. I mean, that might have just been a work of God. I mean, you don't have to talk about Jalen Hurts. I think that was just the StreamYard gods just saying, please do not let Ryan go through this before he plays video.
Now we have to see what Ryan's feelings are on this matter after you say it like that. We got to know.
So, he's gone.
Now we're on our own show. Guys, let's go.
Well, I'm glad we didn't have to talk about that once again.
No, we need to talk about it.
We are the host now. 2 to 3. We can vote.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you beautifully now.
All right, cool. I got this red flashing message that said that your audio was lost. So I was like, oh, there goes the stream. All right, so 14 through 16. Ryan, we're going to talk about your guy. We'll go to you last so you can cap us off here. 14 through 16, he was the QB3 across fantasy. If Wentz is totally out of the picture here, is Jalen Hurts a clear-cut top 10 quarterback moving forward? And Steffi, we'll start with you on this one. I'm just super happy you guys can hear me.
So I'm going to keep this very short and sweet. Jalen Hurts did nothing this season that gets me so excited. I don't give a shit. You cannot rely on a running game if you throw the ball like a T-Rex. On my personal power rankings that I will never drop ever in the history of never going to happen because Twitter is crazy. He fell to number 27. It ain't going to happen. I think that Jalen Hurts, this is the season he needs to prove himself. If good for the Eagles, if he does well, they need to get him a little bit more weapons over there. But I'm not going to sit here and shit on Jalen Hurts, but I don't care about it.
All right, David, do you agree or disagree?
I care. I care about Jalen.
Oh,
I care about him more than a little bit. And I have to be honest. I feel like people should both listen to me more about Jalen Hurts and also listen to me less about what I have to say about him, because I was irrationally high on this guy and I was on him for the Saints game for his first start, and I was telling everybody.
I saw that you had a bet. You had a bet on the line, right? Like a fundraiser sort of thing.
Yeah, it was, and it went great. Everybody was great with the interaction. It was awesome. And then I got way too ahead of myself in the whole Jalen Hurts hype, and I started. What I did is I compared his startup value to Lamar Jackson, which in hindsight clearly wasn't close. But if we're talking redraft next year, I absolutely am all in on Jalen Hurts. I still believe he will stick, and I do believe he will be a long-term dynasty asset, at least 3 years plus in this league as a starting quarterback. And I don't believe he throws like a T-Rex. I don't see the same things.
So weird.
I like what I see from Jalen Hurts. You saw him come in against Green Bay. He threw a long touchdown to Jalen Reagor in double coverage. You talk about his first start against New Orleans, the back shoulder throw to Alshon Jeffrey. I've seen this guy make big-time throws, and let's not make anything not clear here about how awful the talent that he was playing with when he was doing these things. He was playing with a rookie Jalen Reagor who was coming back from injury. The skeletons of Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson and Zach Ertz, give me a break. This guy had nothing to work with, absolutely nothing to work with. Absolutely nothing to work with this offense. And he was making things out of nothing, quite literally out of nothing. When you watch this guy play, he was turning nothing into something. And if we're talking fantasy, I don't give a damn if this guy's winning games. I don't give a damn if he's a long-term starter, especially if we're talking about redraft.
Ryan cares, though.
I care about fantasy points. And this guy in his 4 starts, he was on pace for 963 rushing yards and 9 rushing and his for over 1,000 yards, and that's his 5-game sample. Excuse me, and that's an
easy end of their schedule.
That's including against Green Bay, where that was just one quarter and 7 minutes, where he got 29 rushing yards. If you talk about the 4 games, he was over 1,000 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns in his base. I think 800 rushing yards and 8 to 10 rushing touchdowns as a projection in 2021. I think that's absolutely fair and doable. I think this guy has the QB1 ceiling within his range of outcomes in 2021. You look at quarterbacks, these mobile quarterbacks like Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. What did we see in year 2? We saw a rushing spike. So I believe if he can hit that 800, 850 in rushing yards, 8 to possibly 10 rushing touchdowns, he paced for 3,700 passing yards and over about 25 passing touchdowns in these games. This guy is going to be fantasy magic. Make no doubt about that. When he gets his chance, as long as he's behind center, it's a lock.
So Ryan, no bias in this.
I mean,
pretend you're not an Eagles fan.
That was beautiful by David. So what he touched on, he touched on a couple things here. He talked about how bad the offense was and how decrepit they were. It's getting worse because the guys that he mentioned are now going to be off the team. So Alshon Jeffrey, he's going to be a
That's
cap
good.
casualty.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Deshaun Jackson had an 80-yard touchdown. Gone. Zach Ertz, easy safety blanket. Goodbye. The biggest issue that they're going to lose on offense that I think might happen is I think Jason Kelce retires. And that is a big L for the Eagles. He's been the best center for the last 5 years in the NFL. It's going to be an issue if he retires this year, especially with a rookie quarterback. They gave up more sacks than anybody. All I've been hearing this week is Russell Wilson bitching about how many times he's gotten hit. And the Eagles were hit. I think they had 14 more sacks against them than Russell Wilson had. That's Wentz. That's Hurts. And that's Nate Sudfeld for 2 quarters when he got sacked like 3 or 4 times. I don't love the optics for the Eagles offensive line. I also don't know what's coming out of this offense, right? I don't know what Sirianni's going to do. Am I intrigued a little bit if he's coming from the Frank Reich tree that's also the Doug Peterson tree? I guess. Is it going to be more of the same? Is it going to be a lot of Jalen Reagor? Sure. But I'm going to need to see more out of Jalen Hurts. He had a 42% completion percentage in the red zone. Like, that's not going to cut it. I know he can make up for it with his legs, and he did. I mean, he was great in that Cardinals game. That was the only game that I was like, wow, this guy is going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. That's just maybe because I'm a big Wentz guy and I saw it at a biased angle. I don't like the optics for Hurts just because I don't like his completion percentages. I don't like his accuracy. His accuracy was poor. It's tough to say that he was an accurate quarterback. He was not good, accurate wise. Like I think he was under 60%. 60% is a very low threshold that you need a quarterback to be at, and he wasn't there. I need more of that. Like I need him to be better. And I think that Greg Ward is an okay wide receiver. Jalen Reagor, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think he can play. I don't think Jalen Reagor is a wide receiver that's going to stick in the NFL. I don't know why. He doesn't look like he can get separation. I was hoping he'd be a DJ Moore light kind of guy, and I've gotten like a Josh Huff kind of guy, and that's not good enough for me. Dallas Goedert, I was told he was going to be better than Zach Ertz this past year. I don't think anyone mentioned Dallas Goedert for 17 weeks. Did anyone say, ooh, make sure you start Dallas Goedert this week? Because I didn't. I personally didn't go out on a limb and say Dallas Goedert's great. Travis Fulgham, that was great of you to show up for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened there.
He was gone.
The best part about Fulgham is he then backed Wentz, and then the Eagles coaching staff decided that we don't want him. He's not putting enough work in. Let's get Alshon Jeffrey, who's just made up of, I don't know, he's like PVC pipes and just long sleeves on his jersey. He can't play anymore. I'm sorry, Alshon. And Quez Watkins, like the guy, burner. Don't know what I've got in him. I will say, I touched on at the beginning that I think rushing yards are huge for quarterbacks. And Jalen Hurts was the first person to run for 100 yards against the New Orleans Saints in 65 games. He broke that streak of Saints not allowing 100-yard rushers. He's a good runner. He's Russell Wilson-like when he gets in the open field. He knows when to duck out of bounds. He knows when he's going to get hit, and he knows how to limit those. The thing is, I haven't seen that over 16 games. I don't know how that's going to build up with him. I want to really like Jalen Hurts. He is a very good individual. He's a great human. I love all the stuff that he said. I understand you can go two ways with Hurts. You can say he doesn't like adversity and he transferred out of Alabama, or you can say he stuck an extra year at Alabama and he was with the adversity. I don't care what slant you take. I just need to see a more accurate quarterback. I liked that he looked similar to Russell Wilson in Russell Wilson's first couple starts, where Wilson wasn't accurate, but he still had the feel in the pocket to not get rocked. I see that a lot with Hurts. I just don't think that the Eagles trading Wentz will be a long-term good move, just because I don't know if Hurts is a great upgrade, and the stuff around Hurts is going to be terrible, and I think that might damage him long-term. And I feel bad for the guy saying that. It's very concerning. They've got to be the second largest country in debt behind the United States, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're $100 million over the cap. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's going to be bad. They're going to have 12 guys play all year. So my thoughts, I do think Jalen Hurts is going to be one of those guys that's on your fantasy team. You start him, he gets you 12. You sit him, he gets you 38, and it's going to be frustrating. He's not going to be like a nice 22 to 34 right here. He's going to be all over the place because that team is terrible and they're going to have to grind out games. It's going to be tough to play him, and I wish the best for him this year. Even though I'm currently wearing a Buffalo Bills shirt, Eagles fan for life. So hopefully Hurts looks good.
And I like the honesty from both you and Steffi dug into your own organizations. You guys are pretty real about stuff, because I've had people on the show where they can be talking about any organization and they're always looking for the perk of something and always looking for the long shot. So do appreciate that. We're over the hour mark here. I'm just going to ask you a quick question, which was one of our last ones. You just give me a quick answer here. So it was the last fact or fiction that I wanted to touch on for sure. And it's over the last couple of years, there's been a new QB1 in fantasy every single year. So 2017, Russell Wilson. 2018 was Patrick Mahomes, 2019 Lamar Jackson, and then this past year, weeks 1 through 16, Kyler Murray. He was neck and neck with Josh Allen, who was right there in points. Was the QB 1 in 17 weeks. So moving forward next year, will we have another brand new QB 1? Just give me your brief yes or no, and if it's a yes, who's your prediction? And then we'll close things out here, and we can start with Steffi on this.
Oh God, that's hard. I probably am going to stick with Kyler. I think I love him. I think that his potential is limitless. I do think that Burrow needs to be brought into question coming off of that injury. So that'll be my answer.
All right, and David.
Yeah, the repeatability factor just seems hard to bet on the same guy to me 2 years in a row. So I'll say it will be a new QB1. I'll probably say Josh Allen or Dak Prescott could be the sleeper there.
Oh, that's good.
All right, and Ryan.
Indianapolis Colt Carson Wentz is going to be QB1. But aside,
you told me he was coming to Chicago. Now he's going to Indy.
Listen, he's going somewhere, and I like Watson if he lands anywhere else. But I mean, Dak Prescott's probably really any quarterback that's going to get traded is going to be quarterback 1, maybe Kyler. So any of those guys that are going to get traded, Kyler Murray, and that's it. Those are the guys.
All right. Well, thanks again to all three of you guys for jumping on the live stream. Had some good talks here. I want to make sure we close things out for people that tune in late or might kind of skip through the podcast on like iTunes or something like that. Make sure you tell us where we can find you. And again, before we close things out, thank all three of you for being the host of the show for the 10 seconds that I got kicked out. So Ryan, we can start with you, man.
Yeah, I'm as always at Bootleg Fantasy. climbthepocket.com, at climbthepocket on Twitter, and you can find our YouTube, Climb the Pocket. I mean, it's easy right there. They're all the same thing. So
nice.
That's me.
Nice. David.
Yeah, I'm not on Ryan's level with the YouTube yet, but you can find me on Twitter at Guru Fantasy WRLD. And there's a link to my little dinky blog under my profile if you want to check out the site.
David, the way you say booty cheeks, I need you to have a YouTube page.
Oh my God, I'm flipping it tomorrow.
Booty.
I'm so excited.
Booty.
I can't wait.
Booty.
I'm gonna flip it and post it everywhere.
That could be like a sister company. Well, not company, but you got bootleg, and then it can just transition into
Booty
and my
cheeks.
buddy booty cheeks.
Booty cheeks
Bootleg.
tight ends.
I don't know.
Steffi, you can cap us off here.
Yeah, you guys can find me at Stephanie Smalls with 3 L's, and everything I'm doing is over there. So
Perfect. All right. So thank you, everybody that listened live. And again, this will be on all the podcast stuff probably tomorrow. So have a good night. And thanks to you three for jumping in the podcast.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
It was beautiful, Nick.
Thanks.